Growing up in California, I listened to a lot of punk rock, but I think it was 8th grade I heard John Coltrane's Giant Steps. And I was completely floored because I had never heard the saxophone played in that way before. I knew I wanted to come to New York City because it was inspiring just to hear about everyone that lived there and everyone that played there. It's the mecca of the jazz world. And I would always think, oh man, I gotta go there and try that. Here at the new school, I knew that there was a real musical community with a lot of really talented musicians, and especially really talented teachers, a lot of whom I really looked up to when I was first starting out.
We have 4 generations of the greatest jazz musicians on the planet teaching here and working with the students in a very, very close way. That's the hole between his hands.
It's called the School for Jazz and Contemporary Music, but you don't even really have to be a jazz musician because there's so much different music being played. Classical music, rock music, folk music. It's really fun walking down the halls because you'll hear some guy screaming at the top of his lungs, playing screamo metal here, and then you walk down the hall and it's a beautiful singer singing a ballad.
This program was founded where the mentoring model was the way that people learn the jazz. A lot of the mentoring happens in between classes. You know, I'll just be sitting in the hallway and a student will come up to me and say, hey man, I'm working on this tune and I'm really having problems with this. Like, can you explain this? And we try and bring that same environment directly into the classroom situation, particularly in the improvisation ensembles.
There's an R&B ensemble, Brazilian choral music ensemble, John Coltrane ensemble, it's a Thelonious Monk ensemble. And you learn a lot from your teachers when they talk to you, but I think you learn the most from your teachers by listening to them play. And I've had a lot of fun playing with some of my heroes here. I grew up listening to Billy Harper, and I grew up listening to Charlie Persip playing on Sunny Side Up with Dizzy Gillespie, and I couldn't believe that I got to be in his ensemble, and I actually get to play with Charlie Persip now. It's an amazing thing. The New School for Jazz is also located in a great place in the city. It's amazing to be going to school in Greenwich Village because after class you can go outside and walk down to the Vanguard and see people play, or you can go to Smalls and play, or go to Fat Cat and play at the jam session. I do have a band. I call it the Ben Flox Quartet, and each year the New School for Jazz facilitates a trip for 5 or 6 student groups to Bern, Switzerland to play at the Bern Jazz Festival. It's one of the greatest opportunities I've ever had, some of the most fun I've ever had, period, in my life. 3 sets a night, 5 nights in a row, opposite Ahmad Jamal, who's one of my absolute favorite musicians and people of all time. I learned a lot about being a band leader. I was really on the road, and it was my group, and I had to make things happen.
Ben Flox, thank you guys so much for being here.
Ben has developed over these last few years in every way imaginable. As a player, his improvement was extraordinary. He moves people. When he's done with the solo, people are just... I think that Ben has the acumen, the maturity, the grace that befits a professional musician. So he's ready to go. He's ready to go and make some great music with great people.